Do you live in California? Do you own rental property? Do you have tenants that haven't been paying their rent since the eviction and foreclosure moratorium came into effect? Well, there might be some hope. Earlier today, Governor Gavin Newsom announced his plans to repay 100% of those unpaid rents to landlords whose tenants haven't been paying their rent. How's this all going to work? How much money are we talking about here? We're going to dive into it in just a second. But before we do that, let's take a minute and talk about where we are with the eviction moratorium at the moment, just so you have an idea of what is going on. So currently in the state of California, evictions are, in place. There's a moratorium in place right now until at least June the 30th. Now, we don't know if this will be extended at the moment or not. This is a federal ban on evictions, but there are some states like Texas and some others that have overturned this moratorium, if you will, and allowed evictions to take place. But if you live in California, that's not going to be the case, right? It is a very tenant-friendly state, so the idea of evicting these people when there's a moratorium in place is not realistic. So what can you do as a landlord in order to, recoup those costs if you have a tenant that hasn't been paying? We've talked about rental assistance. We've talked about, the different amounts that Trump proposed, that Biden proposed as part of these federal stimulus plans. And, the states were allocated so much money, but if you're a landlord, it's difficult to recoup this money, right? It's not as easy as just filling out an application and somebody sending you a check. There's a process to go through this, and it's always a lot easier said than done, and this is likely going to be one of those scenarios as well, where Newsom has this grand plan to allocate this money to landlords, but how's it really going to go down? But before we talk about that, let's take a minute here and talk about the actual proposal that is coming out. And, here we go. Take some time to highlight the key parts of it, or what I feel like are the key parts of it. I'll put a link in the description below if you want to read the entire article and check it out for yourself. But, here we talk about, Governor Gavin Newsom today announced his intent to pay rental housing providers 100% of rent that's gone unpaid because of COVID-19. In a press conference this morning, Newsom announced that California will receive an additional $2.6 billion in rental assistance from the federal government. That brings California's total federal rental aid to $5.2 billion. So earlier in January, we were allocated $2.6 billion. That was supposed to go towards rental relief. Now there's an additional 2.6, making it a total of 5.2. Newsom also announced his plan to spend $2 billion from the state general fund to pay past owed water and utility bills. That's going to be on behalf of the tenants. So, he's allocated an additional $2 billion towards that. But until now, the governor and legislators committed to paying landlords 80% of what they were owed by COVID-19 impacted renters, although this has only covered back rent owed between April 20th and March 2021. Under prior legislation, owners have been required to forgive 20% of the rent owed to qualify for the assistance. Now it appears owners will receive the owed 20% as well. So initially, when the $2.6 billion was proposed, they were going to pay landlords 80% of the past due rent. Landlords were supposed to forgive the additional 20%, or the 20% that wasn't allocated there. This new bill says that, they're going to not only double the amount that's going to go towards rental relief, but that you should get the full amount. So 100% of that back owed rent, not only for what has been missed so far, but going forward. So I'm assuming they're looking forward and saying, hey, this is going through June 30th, and we're willing to give you the rental amount for those months upcoming as well. But Is it going to work? Why is he doing it now? Well, if you live in California, you know his back is against the wall, right? There's been a recall effort that has been going on for the last year. They now have enough votes to put this on a ballot and vote on it. And my guess is he's feeling the pressure, right? So he's starting to open up the state of California, set to open sometime, I believe June 15th, where, the entire state is open, 100% occupancy in restaurants, all of that good stuff. But at the same time, he's doing things to, help out renters, help out landlords, etc. So he's really trying to reach the mass in California and likely keep his job. Hard to say if that's actually the case or not, but that's what I believe. So we'll see. We'll see if it actually pans out or not. But if you're a landlord, that hasn't been receiving rent, there may be some relief on the way. But understand, accepting this money as part of that relief is likely going to keep you from being able to evict those tenants when the moratorium is over. So just keep in mind, there's usually some sort of stipulation that if you accept this money, that you're not going to be able to evict the tenants for whatever reason. So just, it's not free money, and you're going to be able to kick these people out at the end. And it's not free money to begin with. It's money being paid back to you. But understand there's probably some guidelines, some stipulations that come along with it. But as we get more information, I'll continue to update you on this. But I imagine if you're a landlord, there's, a couple different places in the state of California where you can apply for this rental aid. I'm sure there's some sort of application. So just keep your eyes out for that. If you have additional questions for me, do me a favor, comment below. And as I get more information, like I said, I'll continue to update you. But I appreciate you taking the time to watch. I appreciate the support. Hope to see you again soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.